told somebody, I was like, I'm not gonna cry, but I'm backstage crying already. I'm like, so I'm gonna go off script, because everything is just thrown out the window. The last day and a half has been amazing. And people like Hunter, I always make this joke, and I was telling somebody this last night. I make a joke that our kids need more white friends. But jokes come from truth. In the neighborhoods where I grew up in, we did not know white people. I didn't have any white friends. In fact, we hated white people. That's just a fact. So I'm gonna be really raw with you right now. I was thinking about this picture because I was just playing around with it because I didn't like the way it looked when I made the PowerPoint. And I was like, ooh, black and white. I love wearing black and white, but to me, this black and white now means something different. This is actually where I grew up. This is my apartment tenement in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. 3rd floor, to the right. That's my window. I looked out that window. I didn't see hope. I didn't see opportunity. I saw my friends, the gang members, the drug dealers, the people I grew up with and I learned to create life with. But that was just living. Growing up in poverty, everybody was poor in Bed-Stuy at the time. You had mice in your house, you had roaches in your house. Everyone had that. So the first time I even seen someone's home that did not have that, well, what the fuck is wrong with me? I don't have that. But people like Hunter, he shouted out Chris Street earlier. Chris is one of the founders of the All-Stars Project. They didn't look at me as someone who needed a handout, someone to pity. They gave me opportunity to be a leader. And that's what changed my life. That's also what shaped me. I got to be a leader, to see something in myself that I didn't know was there. I sometimes get defensive around all of these titles and CEOs and senior executives and founders and degrees and things that I don't have, and quotes that people quote from Mark Twain to Abraham Lincoln and things. I'm like, I don't do that. You know, my mother didn't give me a good quote. My dad didn't give me a good quote. My father said to me, the best thing you can do is get a job that has a pension. In Brooklyn, that's a MTA worker, transit, sanitation worker, fire department. And again, I'm a black guy, so we did not do the police. But I knew I wanted something more. Well, what the hell is more? I don't know what more is. I'm going to show you some slides. These slides may correspond with what I'm talking about now. I don't know anymore. I gotta see. I'm going to jump all over time. This clock is really going to mess with me now, right? Because to even get here, I was deciding going to tell the story now. But so, coworker comes to visit me in Dallas, and she's a young white woman, and she says, "Antoine, I want to go to the mansion for dinner. Would you want to come with me?" I say, "Sure." I know in Dallas, the mansion is one of the whitest institutions in Dallas, right? Probably old plantation, I'll just be honest, right? And I say, "Sure, and we're going to have the 7-course meal." I'm like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Okay, good, it's a good payday, yeah," right? And I was like, fuck it, let's add the wine to it too. 7-course meal with 7 pairs of wine. And we walk in there, my wife and I and my friend Bridget and her friend, and my wife and I is the only black people in the building. Not even the valet was Hispanic or person of color, anything. I was like, okay, the cooks, white. person serving me my wine, white. There's not a black person in the building. And I'm like, okay, great. This is a good story, right? And I get up to go to the bathroom, and I walk through this maze of bathrooms, and I look over, and I'm like, Rand? And we're like, hey. And everybody at the table was like, how the hell y'all two know each other, right? And it was a beautiful moment, and Rand comes over later, and he's like, so what y'all doing? I was like, we're talking about how COVID has affected the impact of poverty on our young people. He's like, Antoine, I bet you no one in this restaurant is talking about that tonight. And then he asked me to be a speaker here. So thank you, Rand, again. So here's, in a short form, as the clock ticks down, what I was saying to Rand when I heard this topic of shaping the future. I think we kind of already answered it. Who shapes the future? So I was asking Rand, I was like, is it all of us, the Stagen members, with the big fancy titles and the founders who gets the opportunity to shape our companies, to shape our people, to shape industries? We're intentionally going out there every day shaping the future, right? But I started to think about, well, who was shaping me? How did I get shaped? How did I get to be on this stage for 20 minutes to speak to all of you and hopefully inspire you? So we talked about Bed-Stuy. This is what I do now. I get to shape the lives of young people. My mission in the All Stars Project, using the developmental power of performance, we transform the lives of youth and poor communities in partnership with caring adults, where everyone grows. It's in my mission, so I say, yes, I am shaping the future. But I still ask the question, who shaped me? Who really is shaping the future? And it's because I got this title, because I get to stand in front of thousands of young people across the country. Well, Bed-Stuy was the first part about shaping me. I threw this up because, one, this is where I grew up with no hope. This is why I didn't see hope. This article reads, Bedford-Stuyvesant, Rashid Bennett, 31, died after being shot in the chest, Eleanor Roosevelt houses at 128 Lewis Avenue. He was coming down the elevator doors open, someone shot him in the chest twice. Eleanor Roosevelt houses. Should be inspiring, right? To me and my family, it's just the projects. This is where my cousin started a dance group on the 10th floor, where I would come over every day from my house to their house, 15 blocks. I lived in a 15-block radius, and I'd come to these projects, pissy elevators, crack valves in the staircases, just to learn how to dance in a hallway no bigger than this platform I'm standing right now. This kid was my barber's son, and you think that when you pass 17, because see, growing up in Bed-Stuy, we were only supposed to live to 17 years old, so we feel like we made it when we turned 18. When my son turned 18, I texted his mother, I was like, congratulations, we raised a good boy. He made it past that line. But at 31, you still could get shot in your own fucking house. This is where I go home every year to see my family, because my aunt still lives there in that same 10th floor, 800 square foot, 2-bedroom apartment. I hate going back there sometimes, I do. But this is where I'm from. But it's also good memories. I graduated high school from Bed-Stuy. We call it do or die Bed-Stuy, because you have to do or you die. But sometimes the do was like, go do it. Don't sit here and die. So we got out there. So I started to excel in school, get smart, You know, everyone tells you education is the key. You're going to get out there. You're going to change the world and so forth. And I kept climbing in school. In all black schools, I was told I was smart. I was feeling it. I was smart on top of my class. I'm smart. I went to a junior high school where I got skipped. I skipped the 8th grade. And this middle school that I was in was surrounded by projects and violence, and kids were dying every single week. But I was smart. They said, you will get out. Apply for this program. I applied for a program, medical science program in this high school, Midwood High School. It's in the middle of Brooklyn, next to a college campus. Until then, I've never seen a college campus before. Until then, I never had white friends before. And now I'm thrown into a school of 5,000 kids where 95% of them are white. And they're having these experiences that I've never imagined before. Kids are taking long sticks with nets on the end of them and throwing a ball across the classroom. What the hell is that? We have volleyball for gym. The real stark was there was no bars in front of the buildings. There was no metal detectors when we walked into class. For lunch, you can go outside and come back at free will. It was an experience I never knew about. I came from an area where when you walked outside, you had to put on a tough exterior and walk this way. You had to look people in the eye and stare them down and say, if you fuck with me, I will fuck with you. You have to be willing to die just to go to school. And then I get here, and teachers are giving you books and like, hey, Mr. Joyce. I'm like, don't fuck with me. But that attitude, that performance, I started to fail. I didn't know what to do. I flunked out of 10th grade because I was so like in an environment I did not know what was going on. So here's the part of the story where I usually say, and then I met the All-Stars. And that's true. And the All-Stars and my cousins who danced on that 10th floor of those projects, we went around the city dancing in talent shows, and I was exposed to the city and areas that I never knew before, and people like Hunter and other adults. And I started to like live life, and it changed my life. But I want to share with you real quick these two stories that actually really shaped my life at that pivotal point. When I failed 10th grade, I did say fuck it. Why try? No one cares about me because they didn't show that they cared about me in the school when I started to fail. No one cared. They thought I was on drugs. They said, hey, your mother should help you with your homework. So my mother has a job. Oh, your mother works? Well, that's interesting. So what's so interesting about that? I didn't get it until like years later. So I said, you know what? Let me go back to the people that I know. When I look out the window, who did I know? The gang members. So I thought about joining a gang. My friend Philip was in his gang. I met Philip when he came to my block to test me in a fight. What do guys fight about? Girls. Yo, son, come down and fight me. And again, usually fights end up with somebody dying. But I came downstairs and we had this fight. It was a brutal fight. We both got hurt. My parent was not happy about that. And then like teenagers, me and Philip became friends, right? This is where Philip lived. This is 4 blocks from the first picture I showed you. And I would come to the stoop, and me and Philip would hang out on this stoop every single day. And we talk, and then he told me about the gang, and I said, you know what? High school sucks. Let me join you in the gang. Let me get jumped in. Let me fight 5 guys to join your gang. He's like, nah, son. That's how we talk in Brooklyn. Nah, son. That ain't for you. Fuck you mean that ain't for me? Nigga, I'm hard, man. The fuck? Nah, son, that ain't for you. Come on, man. Come on, let's scrap right now. Nah, that ain't for you. Die, man. One day I came looking on the stoop. This is what it looked like. Usually Philip's sitting on that stoop. He wasn't on that stoop because Someone came out and said, oh, you didn't hear? Philip was killed with his gang members robbing someone's home in New Jersey. Nah, son, that ain't for you. I was at a talent show. I was at a talent show with my cousins somewhere in Manhattan, having the time of my life, playing around in the tech area, probably causing some trouble because I'm a rambunctious person. And this other kid, Gary Smith, says, can you pick the speaker up and get out of the way? The show was over. Can you pick the speaker up and put it in the van outside? All right, G. I picked the speaker up, about 40-pound speaker, and I take it outside. I'm like, damn, all this production, even here in this room right now, all this production fits inside a little car, inside a box. All this energy gets taken down after we leave, like an atomic bomb in reverse, and back into a small little package, waiting to be exploded again. And if you saw the movie Soul, it's like I got that little last patch. It woke me up. I want to do this. I want to help create energy around the country. I want to take speakers out of cars, put them on stages so that kids can have an opportunity to see themselves and be appreciated on stage. So that's what I did with my life. I started producing talent shows. It was Philip and Gary, their love, our passions, our combined hate is why I'm standing here right now. I share those stories because when I ask again, who shapes the future? We all do, but there's also those people in your life that touch you in ways that you never know how they're going to advance your life. Philip will never know what he's created. Gary will never know. Actually, I'm going to call Gary after this, so he will know. But when he asked me to carry that speaker, he didn't know I was going to be the leader of a national nonprofit, that I will touch thousands of kids' lives. This is my friend Amos. Amos is also a Stagen member. So we were talking, this is at a bar, Paradiso, that we like to go to in Bishop Arts. And he's a pastor of First Presbyterian Church here in Dallas. Large, white, predominantly white church. He's the first black pastor in his 160-year history. And he took a phone call from another pastor in LA and was counseling this pastor over a tragic event in their life. And I was like, man, that's powerful. And then after the conversation ensued, he's like, yeah, man, we will never know the impact we have on others' lives. What we do today will transcend for generations, and we may never see it. Even in our present, I don't know what some of my young people are doing right now, and that's great. They're changing the future right now. I don't know how, but they are. And he was sharing with me this story, and I hope I do you justice again, Amos. His father grew up in Ethiopia. At the time, they only educated their children up to 3rd grade. Someone saw something special in his father. His father walked 60 miles barefoot to another village to be educated past 3rd grade by Presbyterian missionaries. Some white women with a lot of money who came to Africa, to Ethiopia, to support something. His father got educated, became a professor, came back to Ethiopia to teach, and then left during the Red Terror with his family. But those white women did not know that they was going to produce Amos, who is now shaping the lives and the spiritual lives of thousands of people here in Dallas. I love that. They didn't do it because They knew Amos was going to be here. They did it because they was living their values, their love, their passion for the world, like I feel like Philip was doing for me. He loved me enough to tell me, nah, son. Gary loved me enough to say, yo, man, stop playing around, pick up a speaker and help. He could have just told me to go the fuck home. Get out the way. Nah, pick up that speaker, help. So today, as I wrap up, I get to shape the lives, but they also shape me. These young people every day in these poor communities shape me. I do it on talent shows in communities from New York to Chicago to San Francisco, here in Dallas, New Jersey. I do it on stages in corporate America. This is actually at Hunter's building, where we graduated hundreds of kids in a business leadership program called Development School for Youth, and provide many internships. You can see Hunter right there in the corner. We do that by bringing young people in poor communities together with police officers so that we can shape those conversations in new ways. Remember, I used to hate police? I used to hate white people. I don't anymore. Because I allowed myself to be shaped by those environments, to be uncomfortable, to learn, to build with everyone. And that's what I want to shape. That's what I invite you to join me to do, is help shape a future where everyone belongs to. No matter your race, no matter your religion, no matter your political side of the wing, everyone belongs to my future. And I get to be shaped by her. I just got married in September. Thank you. She's an educator. She works at Dallas Independent School District. We met with the alignment of helping kids. I said, hey, if we start dating and it doesn't work out, you're not going to block my program. She's like, no. Then we good. Obviously, we're more than good. I love this woman. She shapes me every day. I shape her. So again, as we leave today, I want you to think about who you're shaping, but also think about who you allow to shape you. Who's in your circle that's shaping you? And who is not in your circle? That's actually the key today. Who's not in your circle? Who are you excluding, maybe consciously, maybe intentionally, and by excluding them, you're also shaping their future in a new way. Again, I want to create a future where everybody belongs to. So I want us to be aware that we have the power to expand who shapes us and who we shape. So I thank you for giving me some time up here to just be with you. That's it, folks. Appreciate it.